Museveni condoles with the UAE over demise of Sheikh Khalifa. Government invests 21 billion shillings to restore the ivory tower at Makerere University. Opposition leader Besigye says he's not interested in leadership but liberation. And in sports, promoting netball in EAC Federation, exchange ideas on way forward. Hello there and welcome once again, and my name is Rukidi Edward. Kiijanangoma, we are coming to you live online and on air from Broadcast House here on Nile Avenue. President Dr Museveni has today paid his respects and sent condolences to the people of the United Arab Emirates upon the demise of their former leader, President Khalifa bin Zayed Al Nahyan. President Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed Al Nahyan of the United Arab Emirates died 4 days ago at the age of 73. He was president of the UAE since 2004. As well as being president of the UAE, Sheikh Khalifa was also the ruler of Abu Dhabi, the oil-rich capital of the 7 Emirates which comprise the United Arab Emirates. Sheikh Khalifa took over as the UAE's second president in November 2004, succeeding his father as the 16th ruler of Abu Dhabi. Speaking shortly after signing the condolence book at the UAE embassy in Kampala this afternoon, President Museveni expressed his sympathy, describing the loss of Khalifa as sad and regrettable. President Museveni said that Uganda's relations with the UAE have been growing over the years, adding that they will continue to grow for the benefit of their people. He appreciated the relationship that exists between Uganda and the UAE and noted that the UAE is in the right and able hands of the former Crown Prince, who is now president. He congratulated and wished him success. The signing was witnessed by the UAE ambassador to Uganda, His Excellency Abdallah Hassan Obaid Hassan Al-Shamsi, and the State Minister for Foreign Affairs, Honorable Okello Oryem, and the embassy staff, among others. Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed Al Nahyan, President of the United Arab Emirates, passed away at the age of 73 on Friday, May the 13th, the Emirates news agency WAM announced. Meanwhile, President Dr Museveni has urged political commissars in the Uganda security forces to prioritize sensitization of the development and adoption of science and technology as primer for social change in society. President Museveni was this afternoon delivering a moving opportunity lecture to 282 political commissars drawn from the joint security forces that comprise the UPDF, police and prisons at Kololo ceremonial grounds. President Museveni was received by Major General Sam Kavuma, Brigadier Charles Kisembo, Colonel Justice Rukundo and Colonel Anatoli Nwajira at the pass-out ceremony held at Kololo airstrip. 128 men and officers have been attending the ideological course, among others at the National Leadership Institute, Chankwanzi in Chiboga District, while 154 participants attended a similar training at Oliver Tambo Leadership School in Kaweweta in Nakaseke District. President Museveni, who thanked the leadership of the two institutions for maintaining the effort of ideological training, described ideology as very crucial and can provide solutions to social challenges. He said that the ideology of NRM is based on the 4 principles of patriotism, Pan-Africanism, social and economic change, as well as democracy, that are all tailored to achieve sustainable prosperity that emanates from goods and services that must have a market. On Pan-Africanism, the president said once Ugandans wake up and produce more, the national market will not be enough. There will be need to have a bigger market that will absorb all the products. Otherwise, there will be a glut, citing sugar, whose surplus will soon be 320,000 tons. The president told political commissars that the 3 God-given characteristics to the human being of a superior brain, the 2 legs and the hands, should be used to tame nature to create wealth. The commandant of Oliver Tambo Leadership School, Colonel Justice Rukundo, gave an overview of the training and courses run at the institute and disclosed that the participants were extremely impressed by what they saw at Kaumo Presidential Demonstration Farm that clearly manifests that modern agriculture is a reality and can be achieved in a bid to help wananchi to get out of poverty.
And when you see people fighting wars like these ones in Ukraine, it's just ideological bankruptcy. What are you fighting for? You can be prosperous without cheating anybody. Like the Chinese have come up. They are now the second richest country in the world. They are about to overtake the United States, but they have not colonized anybody. They have just developed by themselves and cooperating in business with others on equal basis. That's why we say, if you want to be prosperous, number one, love Uganda. Number two, love Africa. But number three, you must change. You must become a modern person based on science, covering all those areas. If it is food, this is what you do. If it is shelter, this is what you do. If it is transport, this is what you do. If it is health, this is what you do. So even if we unite Uganda, even if we unite Africa, but you don't change, the society does not change, then they will not take advantage of the other two. You must become modern people.
Excellency President Dr. Museveni ending that report there. Now, government has invested 21 billion Ugandan shillings to rebuild Mbale University Ivory Tower Administration Building, which was burnt in September 2020. While laying the foundation stone for their reconstruction, the First Lady and Minister for Education and Sports, Janet Kataha Museveni, urged Mbale University management to seek God's guidance and help in raising the foundation, rebuild the waste places and repair the broken wall, restoring the paths for the generations to come. Farida Nafka was at Mbale and brought us this report.
Mbale University will start reconstructing of the main administration building in the first week of June this year. Currently, the contractor is putting down the face, offices, council and senate rooms that were completely destroyed by the fire that gutted the building in September 2020. The chairperson of Mbale University Council, Lona Magara, says the foundation for reconstruction has been laid and funds already provided by the government of Uganda.
Thank you, Honourable Minister, for your tireless efforts in mobilizing government funding to the tune of 21 billion for this iconic landmark's restoration. Since 2022, Mbale University has positioned itself at the forefront of human capital development for Uganda, East Africa and the world.
While laying the foundation stone for the reconstruction of Mbale University main administration block, the First Lady and Minister for Education and Sports, Janet Museveni, said her prayer is that God will be the foundation of the new structure and the university.
But my hope is that this will not just be a physical reconstruction, but a spiritual one. I pray that there will be a restoration of the ethical values and the faith of the entire Mbale University community, and that every student who walks through the gates of Mbale will fulfill their divine calling and destiny in God.
The First Lady also laid a foundation stone for the construction of the School of Law, commissioned the School of Dentistry and central teaching facilities.
Can do research properly, they can attend students better. They will also have a small court so the students can actually practice how a court runs. Have a very well furnished and equipped dental hospital with specialized rooms, with the special rooms for complicated cases.
Other projects that have been earmarked by government at Mbale University are the hospital, construction of student centre and students' accommodation.
Including University Teaching Hospital, and we are eternally grateful for your stewardship in negotiating the $300 million for the construction. Let's clap.
Meanwhile, Mbale University plans to celebrate 100 years on 8th of October, and the President of Uganda, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, has contributed 800 million shillings for the event that is estimated to cost 1.4 billion shillings. I'm Nafka Farida and Abduna Silwama in Makerere.
Prime Minister of Uganda, Nabanja, says the crisis in Ukraine should not overshadow the huge humanitarian refugee crisis in other parts of the world, including Uganda. Premier Nabanja made the revelation today while meeting a United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees delegation led by the chairman of the Executive Committee of UNHCR Commissioners Program, Ambassador Salim Badula, at her office in Kampala.
Nabanja says there is fear that the ongoing Ukraine crisis could overshadow the huge humanitarian refugee crisis elsewhere in the world.
And help us to convince other partners.
The delegation had paid a courtesy call to the Prime Minister to discuss issues of partnerships. Nabanja told the visiting delegation that Uganda is hosting over 1.6 million refugees, and since January this year, over 50,000 refugees have crossed to Uganda from DR Congo, and the country needs over $800 million to provide water and sanitation, medical, food, shelter and education for the refugees and host communities in the short run.
That we need to change the approach of having our people sleep in huts, temporary structures. We need to plan better so that we give decency and, of course, save our land.
We have seen it. There is one technical school in the north which produced over 800 refugees, different skills, and all those refugees went back to their country.
Nabanja says Uganda appreciates the support of UNHCR in enabling the country to host refugees, but asked the UN body that Uganda has professionals who have handled refugee response issues for so long and are qualified should be absorbed into the senior leadership of UNHCR body.
Yes, we have people who have really amassed a lot of experience since we have been a hosting country for quite some long time. The world needs to benefit from our people.
The chairman of the Executive Committee of UNHCR Commissioners Program, Ambassador Salim Badula, says concerns will be tabled in Geneva.
Unfortunately, given the proliferation of all these conflicts in the world, we are seeing protracted conflict and refugee crisis all over the world, and one of these crises is in Uganda. So all this, I promise you to take it on board, and I will take on board as well my field visit, my first impressions, my impressions during the field visit.
The meeting was attended by the Minister for Relief, Disaster Preparedness and Response, Engineer Hilary Nick, Esther Anyakun, State Minister for Disaster Response, among others. Shaidat Nasaku, UBC News.
Now, a bunch of opposition members of parliament have paid a courtesy visit to former president of the Forum for Democratic Change, Dr Kizza Besigye, at his home in Kasangati, where he remains under preventive arrest. Among the issues discussed were the high commodity prices such as fuel and soap, and the controversial coffee agreement bill, which was signed recently, giving monopoly to Uganda Vinci Coffee Company Limited over the purchase and export of coffee from Uganda. Brian Biarhanga gives us more.
Besigye is under house arrest after an attempted protest against the skyrocketing prices of commodities such as fuel, soap and cooking oil. During a press conference at his residence in Kasangati, retired Colonel Dr Kizza Besigye urged members of parliament to unite and fight what he described as the junta.
Emiwendo gy'ebintu ebyereze eyo side emu naye ne side endala nti nenfuna n'akatono omuntu ke yali afuna nako tekakyaliwo
Government position on the escalating commodity prices remains defined.
Mukimanyi bulungi nti wano mu Uganda ebintu bye tukozesa okukola buto ne sabuni mu kampuni ze tulina oba factories ebisinga tubijja bweru. Tubijja Indonesia ne Malaysia. Kakati olw'okuba tubijja bweru, Ukraine bwe yatandika okulwana juzi, aba Malaysia ne basalawo ebintu byabwe okubikolesaamu amafuta. Mu buto osobola okukolamu amafuta. Bo ne basalawo okukola factories ez'amafuta basobole okwetaasa kubanga amafuta agasinga gava mu mawanga ago.
Dr. Kizza Besigye, when asked whether he has interests in political leadership, he reiterated no, but revealed he is ready to offer himself to liberate Uganda.
I would like to appeal to you leaders, especially you in Parliament, that managing a transition needs maximum unity. You cannot manage a transition in a partisan way. It can't happen. Yeah.
Human rights activists Crispin Kaheru also visited Besigye and held closed-door talks that were not subject to media coverage. Brian Tumwinebya Ruhanga, UBC News.
Meanwhile, the government of Uganda has lashed at former FDC party president Dr. Kizza Besigye over his intentions to hold public engagements and demonstrations against the skyrocketing commodity prices. According to the Minister for ICT, Dr. Chris Baryomunsi, he wants Dr. Kizza Besigye and that he should stop politicking but rather offer formidable solutions. We have more in this story.
Besigye is under house arrest after
Last week, the former FDC principal Dr. Kizza Besigye had planned to hold demonstrations in Kampala City against the continued hiking commodity prices. However, he was intercepted by security operatives, which has kept him under preventive house arrest in Kasangati till date. This Tuesday, Dr. Kizza Besigye has announced that he will not abandon his plans. However, government has responded to him.
There is no need to create awareness about the inflation because people are aware and they feel it in the pocket. So it does not make sense for any politician to say, I want to create awareness in Uganda that the price of fuel is very high and the commodity prices are very high. You create awareness so that then what happens?
According to the Minister for ICT, Dr. Chris Baryomunsi, Besigye should not use the current situation in the country as his political walking stick.
For politicians like Dr. Besigye to try to use this for politicking, to reinvent himself, because he had gone into political oblivion, so he wants to reinvent himself, make himself active, instead of suggesting what solutions needed to be pursued by government and Ugandans. Is just trying to disturb the peace of Ugandans. I think that's very unfortunate.
Minister Baryomunsi notes that the government is equally aware of the situation and has embarked on modalities to avert it.
But as the government, we are trying our level best to address this issue of the rising commodity prices. For instance, through Bank of Uganda and the Ministry of Finance, we have tightened the fiscal and the monetary policies to see that inflation does not skyrocket. And that's why we have kept it at the minimum and also ensured that there is no scarcity of commodities.
However, the general call to Ugandans and other stakeholders is to minimize on their personal expenditure.
The awareness which we should create to Ugandans is for them, first of all, to examine their consumption behaviors, their spending behaviors, but also to work hard and ensure that production can increase.
Among the interventions government is taking is setting aside funds in the coming financial year to aid some sectors of the economy. Robert Onyango, UBC News.
To Omoro now, where the Director of NRM Mobilization, Rosemary Seninde, has assured party members and supporters of a massive win in the Omoro by-elections. Seninde says structures have been instituted and they are only waiting just for the Electoral Commission to announce the party's victory. Sudat Kaye gave us more.
Having camped in Omoro for weeks, the Director NRM Mobilization, Rosemary Seninde, is assured of a massive win for the NRM flag-bearer candidate, Andrew Ojok.
Nagambye ab'Omoro mwe mugenda okubeera ku steering munoonya akalulu kammwe ffe ogwaffe nga abavudde ku secretariat nga Director Mobilization nze nvugira amabega nsindika na kuyamba na kugaidinga na kucoordinatinga nandibadde siri wano naye ndi wano kubanga eri ebintu bitambula structure twazisetinze bulungi eyo yegenda okubeera enkola.
Rosemary Seninde says structures have been instituted and they are only waiting for the Electoral Commission to announce the party's victory.
Tetaaga kubayamba just kugaidinga na coordination. Era bakwano mbakakasa nze nga nansubuga wamwe ndi mukyala musomesa mutendeke nnamba emu n'olwekyo mbakakasa tujja kuteekayo eddoboozi lyonna.
Sensitizing leaders under Kampala Capital City Authority on handling the parish development model funds, Rosemary Seninde thanked President Museveni for being a visionary leader who wants the best for his people.
So it is very important that we train our leaders, and this is what exactly KCCA has started. So I have come as the Director in charge of mobilization to remind the leaders in Kampala that this is a government program, an NRM government program, because it is in the manifesto, and the NRM government intends to implement this program for the good of the people.
The Executive Director, Kampala Capital City Authority, Dr Kizza, says the conversion of leaders from 99 parishes is aimed at monitoring the service delivery areas.
But also you as a parish development committee member, you can also get money. You can borrow from the revolving fund. The fund is for everybody. You are giving a service as a parish development committee member, but you can also borrow from the fund and also build your own business.
Parish development committee members are bound to borrow from the revolving fund and build their own businesses. Sudat Kaye, UBC News.
Submission of classified documents of UPDF aligned generals for retirement has entered day 2, with notable generals like Lieutenant General Andrew Guti showing up among others. However, in tonight's in-depth profiling of the generals shortlisted for retirement, Mark Wadulo profiles General Eli Tumwine and Major General Eli Kayanja. Take a watch.
Born on 12th April 1954 in Burunga, Mbarara district, General Eli Tumwine is a retired Ugandan military officer, professional artist and educationist. General Eli Tumwine served as security minister in between 2019 and 2021. He was the army commander of the National Resistance Army from 1984 to 1987. He holds a permanent position in the UPDF High Command and Army Council as a historical member of the NRA. He is also among the 27 NRA rebels who first attacked Kabamba Army Barracks in 1981. He attended Burunga Primary School, Mbarara High School and St. Henry's College Chitovu before joining Makerere University, where in 1977 he graduated with a degree of Bachelor of Arts in Fine Art together with a diploma in education. He specialized in the history of art painting. He subsequently graduated from the Cadet Officers course at the Tanzania Military Academy at Monduli. He attended the Senior Command course at the Uganda Senior Command and Staff College at Chimaka in Jinja, Uganda, being a member of the Pioneer class that graduated in 2005. General Tumwine holds further military qualifications from the Military Academy in Vastrai in the Soviet Union. In 1978, General Tumwine interrupted his teaching career to join the Fronasa forces led by Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. In 1981, when Museveni went to the bush to form the National Resistance Army, General Eli Tumwine went with him. He is reported to have fired the first shot in the National Resistance Army War, which propelled the National Resistance Army and the National Resistance Movement into power in Uganda in 1986. During the fighting between the NRA and the UNLA, Tumwine sustained facial injuries that led to loss of sight in one eye. In 1984, Tumwine was named Commander of the Army, a post he held until 1987 when he was succeeded by General Salim Saleh. Over the years, he served in various positions, including Minister of State for Defense in 1989, Director General of the External Security Organization from 1994 to 1996, Presidential Advisor from 1996 to 1998, Chairman of the High Command Appeals Committee from 1986 until 1999. He has also continuously represented the UPDF in the Uganda Parliament since 1986. In September 2005, he was promoted to the rank of General in the UPDF and named to chair the UPDF General Court Martial. Major General Eli Kayanja. Born in 1959 in Rakai District, Major General Eli Kayanja is a Ugandan military officer in the Uganda People's Defense Forces. Effective September 2014, he heads Operation Wealth Creation Program, whose objective is to improve the standard of living of rural citizens through farming. Previously, he served as the Deputy Director of the National Intelligence under General David Sejusa. Prior to that, he served as the Director General of the Internal Security Organization. Eli Kayanja was a member of the first class of senior military officers to attend the Uganda Senior Command and Staff College in Chimaka, Jinja, Eastern Uganda, under its first Commandant General Ivan Koreta in 2004. That pioneer class included some of Uganda's current and past leading military commanders, including General Salim Saleh, General Eli Tumwine, General David Sejusa, Brigadier Noble Mayombo, Major General Julius Oketa, and Brigadier Peter Kerim. Eli Kayanja joined the NRM in 1980 as a foot soldier. He has gradually risen through the ranks and at one time served as the commander of the Tiger Battalion of the UPDF based in Mubende. He then served as the Deputy Director of the Internal Security Organization under the leadership of the Lieutenant General Henry Tumukunde. Kayanja replaced Tumukunde as the Director of ISO in 2001. While at ISO, he is credited with the successful supervision of Operation Wembley, a UPDF response to rampant crime and armed gang activity in Kampala and other Ugandan urban areas in the early 2000s. Later, he served as the Deputy Coordinator of the National Intelligence under General David Sejusa. In February 2019, over 2,000 UPDF men and women were promoted on one day. On that day, Eli Kayanja was promoted from the rank of brigadier to that of Major General.
Today in history.
Kafero, 36, died of acute malaria in Mulago Hospital. Born in 1971, Kafero attended Kokonjeri Demonstration Primary School before completing his O-level in Ngongwe Barkerville Secondary School in 1984. Kafero's interest in music was noticed during his primary school days. He was an active choir participant and achieved fame as a leading soloist. Kafero formed a drama group, Kabula de Drama Actors, which he later dissolved to start a musical group, Kulabako Guitar Singers. Kafero was the first Ugandan to win a gold medal as a lead vocalist in 1994 when Institut Études de Théâtre LA, a French body specializing in country music, declared him the winner out of 6,000 contestants from Africa.
Jennifer, Jukila, Wewagamba, I don't have waka. You passed the eyes through me about my waka. Now come and see for yourself, see my waka that I got with Momo Nyabo.
Simply deposit 20k or more on your mobile money for a chance to win 3 Toyota Succeeds and money to 2,000 lucky winners every week. We're giving away 24 cars and over 2 billion shillings of mobile money.
Water gives life. Water is life. But not all water is created equal. Refresh yourself with the new quality Nirvana packaged drinking water and fuel you and your passion to go further in life.
Visit a shop near you and grab a 250 ml at 500 shillings, 500 ml at 1,000 shillings, 1.5 liters at 2,000 shillings, or the 20-liter jumbo bottle at 19,000 shillings. Nirvana is a product of Crown Beverages Limited, the makers of Pepsi products.
The Kabaka Birthday Run 2022 is back on Sunday, 3rd July 2022 at Lubiri Mengo. This year, the run will be physical and will be flagged off by Sabasajja Kabaka at 7 a.m. Come out in large numbers once again to Lubiri Mengo. Run for a cause to fight and end HIV by 2030. Buy your ticket today at 15,000 Uganda shillings from Airtel shops at Tobani Center, New Taxi Park, ShopRite Building, Benchwanka Street, Majestic Brands Office at Bulange Mengo. You can also buy your ticket using Airtel Money. Dial *185*5#. Select Payments, select Kabaka Run, and follow the prompts to complete the payment. Kabaka Birthday Run 2022 is brought to you by UNAIDS, CBS, BBS, and Airtel, the smartphone network.
At Timex Nutrition Center, we advise you on the right foods to eat, exercise profile to adopt, and lifestyle strategies which are compatible to your blood group and genotype. This empowers your body to prevent and treat many diseases like diabetes mellitus, high blood pressure, arthritis, ulcers, obesity, and many others. Make food your medicine. For more information, find us at our head office on Conrad Plaza Building, Nassa Road, on the 2nd floor, or call 0758 819 952 or 0778 288 361. In the Western region, find us in Mbarara on High Street Amazon Building on the 1st floor or call 0754 918 590. And in the Eastern region, find us in Jinja on Main Street Kaki Road, East Arcade 82 or call 0701 458 064. Be your own doctor.
Beat the back-to-school hustle today. Pay school fees conveniently using Airtel Money. Dial *185#. Select option 6, school fees.
Select to pay using Bridge Schools, School Pay or Beg Pay.
Select option 1, pay fees. Enter student number. Enter the amount. Enter the PIN number to complete payment. Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
Welcome back from that break, and this is News Tonight here on UBC TV. Inside the judiciary expenditure of the 376 billion Ugandan shillings that was allocated to the sector this financial year ending, the Permanent Secretary to the Judiciary, Pius Bigirimana, says the sector managed to absorb 74% of the allocated resource envelope. Now, this literally means 26% suffered from low absorption capacity despite challenges facing the judiciary, such as poor salary, remuneration of state attorneys and case backlog. Our reporter, Deborah Namamonde, looks at the judiciary performance review this financial year ending.
In the financial year 2021-2022, Parliament allocated the judiciary 376 billion to extend judicial services to Ugandans and ensuring smooth operation at the Court of Justice, as indicated in the Constitution. With 1 month to the end of the financial year 2021-2022, judiciary has managed to observe almost 74% of what was allocated to it in the resource envelope. This means that 26% of the resource envelope allocated to the judiciary has suffered from low absorption capacity, a syndrome economic analysts associates with absence of work plan in many government institutions, or late disbursement of funds to the intended beneficiaries by the Ministry of Finance. Despite the challenges, part of the spent resource envelope was used to build judicial administrative centers, like courts in hard-to-reach areas that lacked judicial centers. The courts built in the financial year included the following: Supreme Court and Court of Appeal in Kampala at a cost of 63.9 billion, Sembabule Justice Center at 1.8 billion, Buhweju Justice Center at 1.9 billion, Shema Justice Center at 1.8 billion, Kole Justice Center 1.7 billion, Butambala Chief Magistrate Court at 932 million, Kamwenge Chief Magistrate Court at 915 million, and Mayuge Chief Magistrate Court at 951 million.
To start with, the Supreme Court and Court of Appeal are progressing very well.
Since some courts were built in the 80s and 90s, many of them required renovation, and the expenditure on the paper indicates that 10 courts across the country were renovated. These include Ruwelo Chief Magistrate Court, which cost 296 million, Hoima High Court at 379 million, Masindi High Court at 481 million, Machindi Magistrate Court at 198 million, Masaka High Court at 564 million, Mbale High Court 497 million, Tororo Chief Magistrate Court at 488 million, Ntungamo Chief Magistrate Court 431 million, and Maracha Justice Center at 1.8 billion. Despite the achievements, some works remained incomplete as the financial year runs to the tail end.
Then we have also got contracts which I have just signed and are ready to be executed. I signed them last week. Arising from this money that was given to us. Soroti High Court, Jantonde, I told you I came from there on Friday, Budaka, Abim, Kalenga, G1, Aribetong, Patong, and Bukunjiri. All of these, the contracts I have signed are going to be finished.
Following the recruitment of judicial officials and staff, unlike other years, Judiciary has been able to register a promising percentage of cases disposed of in this financial year in different parts of the country, now standing at over 240,000 cases, which are pending in courts of law.
When we began this financial year, we had 146,000 cases. But from July to March, this last March, we had 158,000 cases. But in the whole of financial year so far, we have managed to have 133,801 cases disposed of.
According to the recent research conducted by Afrobarometer in 2021, the judiciary was ranked second among the most corrupt government institutions, topped by police. With the tinted image of the Temple of Justice, there are some mechanisms the judiciary has put in place to redeem its image.
I have got the electronic court case management information system. And this is a system that is going to help us to quicken the process of filing and also payments. That if all goes well, even corruption will be addressed. Because you see, filing online minimizes person-to-person contact.
Although the system is faced with some challenges, they are convinced that moving forward, they will address these issues.
There can be challenges of power, for example. There can be challenges of internet connection. There can be challenges of the speed. But all of these we need to get information. And the court users have got contact with the kiosks. In case there is a problem, you go to the kiosk.
Often government institutions and agencies suffer from low absorption capacity. But what's the case with the judiciary?
Everything we do is time framed. There is no business of saying, I came to the office very late because I was... No. When you have got an assignment, you have to deliver.
Although on average the judiciary has performed fairly with 74% absorption capacity with its allocated resource envelope, COVID-19 destabilized its performance in this financial year ending.
Transport, for example. Most of the judicial officers up country do not have transport. But I'm happy that this financial year, finance gave us funds and we bought vehicles for judges. We have got a problem with internet. As we roll out ECMIS, we need more resources to make sure that in those places where we don't have the umeme, at least we have got generators so that people can file and the cases can be registered. But we still have the bulk of the judicial officers in the field where they have to go on the border from one circuit to another. Not only are you risking them.
In the coming financial year 2020 to 2023, Parliament has allocated judiciary 376 billion. But what's on the menu of the judiciary in the next financial year that Ugandans should expect?
We are recruiting more magistrates to reach almost every district. So people will have access to justice through these judicial officers that we are putting in the district. 3, I have told you that we have got money. We bought some vehicles, although we still need more. At least cases to do with land division will be sorted out because the problem in the past has been visiting the rockers.
Deborah Namamonde, Nantongo Rebecca, UBC News.
The legal team representing city lawyer Isaac Semakande in the case of offensive communication and cyber stalking has prayed to court to allow them cross-examine state lawyer in this case. The new twist followed lawyer Ivan Chaze's submissions to court that some inquiries are ongoing on a similar matter involving the DPP's office together with CID office against the accused Semakande on whether the case holds merit.
The legal team in the case of offensive communication and cyber stalking against city lawyer Isaac Semakande, in which he is accused of insulting the person of Justice Musa Sekana, has once appeared at Buganda Road Magistrates Court. In the last court sitting, Isaac Semakande's lawyer objected to the DPP's intention to take over this matter from lawyer Robert Lutalo, also citing that this court has no powers and jurisdiction to handle the matter. DPP's office, represented by Sete Anthony Ivan Chaze, in replying to these prayers, asked court to dismiss this application by referring court to Articles 120, 3C and 43.14 of the Constitution, which gives the DPP's office powers to take over any matter at any time.
In our view, the submission by the Land Defense Council that the takeover is premature and cannot be entertained at this stage is unfounded and not backed up with reason. Indeed, Section 43(1)(a) of the Magistrates Courts Act, which puts into effect Article 123C, is more specific in its wording.
However, trouble arose when Chaze brought to court his attention that there are some inquiries which are still ongoing in the charges against the accused Semakande, which issue defense raised concern with.
We have read the content of the application, and it is our submission that this application for takeover and continuation of this case renders that application nugatory, as the DPP intends to direct investigations into this matter to ascertain whether there is merit in the complaint on oath filed, if any offences have been committed by the accused person, if he should be charged, and in which court, among other issues.
Derek Bazeketa, one of Isaac Semakade's lawyer, basing on a state's submission, asked court to allow them cross-examine State Attorney Ivan Chaze over the issue.
We will help court in understanding whether the takeover is in itself not an abuse of the legal process under Article 120, Clause 5.
According to lawyer Gawaya Tegule for the DPP's office to conduct investigations against their client as court proceeds with the matter, violates his rights as per the Constitution.
There's a problem here, and would like you, Your Honor, to require the DPP to respond to this query and possibly declare if there are conflict of interest in this matter. Why are they so keen on prosecuting Semakande here before they've even completed the investigations there? This is a clear abuse of process.
Magistrate Marion Mangini, after taking note of the defense's prayers, adjourned the matter to 17th June 2022 to deliver her ruling whether the State Attorney Ivan Chaze defends himself over his allegation inquiries which are ongoing in this matter. Deborah Namamonde, Nantongo Rebecca, UBC News.
State Minister for Economic Monitoring, Peter Ogwang, is not pleased with the continuous levels of negligence among civil servants. Ogwang's dissatisfaction followed inspection of works of different government projects that included roads, health centers and schools in Chira Municipal Council in Wachiso District.
Ogwanga started his monitoring visit at Chira Municipal Council headquarters, meeting the council leaders among whom were the Deputy Mayor Chira Municipality, Town Clerk and councillors. While inspecting the construction works of Chira Municipal Council Administration Block that has consumed about 285 million shillings even before its completion, the minister wasn't at heart with the building's status. Together with a team of experts from National Building Review Board, the municipal construction engineer was tasked to explain about the missing gaps in the works.
See your lap. Because I've seen some of the bars you've left, ribbons are very short.
Ogwanga continued with the exercise at a site where a modern Chira Municipal Health Center 3 facility has been under construction for a couple of years. He also visited the old Chira Municipal Health Center 2 facility, where a hefty amount of money has been spent to improve it. Ogwanga's journey adjusted to Chitukutwe Church of Uganda Primary School, where 83 million Ugandan shillings was allocated to construct 2 classroom blocks, and later to Kira Senior Secondary School, where 84 million shillings COVID relief fund was disbursed to renovate the school, only to find out the money catered for roofing.
What they have done is one issue which is already posing a big risk to the children because this structure has been here from the 70s up to date and the cracks are there. Then the value for money, I am not satisfied. They don't follow the specification as per what is on the drawings of the building.
At Chijabijo Primary School, the works seemed relatively fair, as the 45 million shillings budget given out to construct a 90 meters perimeter wall was put to good use. And it was the same case at Nambogo Church of Uganda Primary School, where the construction for 2 classroom blocks moved on smoothly. Ogwanga, who had worn a smiling face, got bitter as the engineers and contractors mismanaged the funds assigned to improve Nakalere Swamp along Chiwolgoma Chijabijo and the Bulindo Pine roads. At the time of his visit, the roads were in a bad state, with the drainage system worrying. Chira Municipal Council Senior Engineer James Joloba was tasked to explain the inappropriate works.
And people were not passing, and they had been cut off in different places, the low areas. When that papyrus mat came, it swept away.
Wanga condemned the negligence and reluctance among civil servants, thus wasting taxpayers' money.
Meant to work on 300 meters of the road, but they worked on 200, so 100 was left as unaccounted for. Then when we go to the Pine Road, of course there are issues in the Pine Road. At the beginning, according to the drawings and the BOQs, which I haven't got, they are telling me that the width of the road was meant to be 7.5 meters. But what we found on the ground is about 6 to begin from 6.8 for money. And I want also to be scientific. Our team will come and carry out that audit to ascertain the value for money.
The RDC Wakiso District, Justin Mbabazi, has promised to deal with any civil servants should they be engaged in mismanaging government funds. Ivan Juko, UBC News.
The Inspector General of Government, Betty Kamya, has vowed to continue chasing, investigating, prosecuting and jailing the corrupt and to recover the loot. Betty Kamya made the remarks during an engagement with Kampala Capital City Authority councillors, division mayors and speakers on the fight against corruption in Kampala. Sudat Kaye reports.
The Inspectorate of Government has had an engagement with Kampala Capital City Authority councillors, division mayors and speakers to focus on the prevention other than cure strategy of ending corruption. The Inspector General of Government, Betty Kamya, says rebranding the war against corruption from the executive agencies to the citizens is the way to go.
And this is to take the war out of boardrooms, out of hotels, out of business class seats in the rooms and cities in Europe and America to the people. This war belongs to the people of Uganda, and this war can only be won by the people of Uganda.
Kamya says corruption must be given a face for every person to recognize, hate and despise and condemn it, starting from the classroom.
The first function of the Inspectorate of Government is to promote and foster strict adherence to the rule of law and strict observance of the principles of natural justice in administration. And I think the framers of our Constitution were very wise, because corruption happens at the tail end of a journey that begins by violation of rules.
The Executive Director, Kampala Capital City Authority, Dorothy Chisaka, highlighted and warned leaders against the common practices of corruption, with absenteeism taking lead.
We have what we call informers in the community who feed the Executive Director's office with what's going on, full-time, day and night. We have in the departments a weekly meeting which is enforced. A weekly meeting, because we know that if the staff are not interfacing as a directorate, there is a great possibility that there could be dark acts going on and are not being dealt with.
Chisaka says the authority has tried to monitor the administration and provided services to divisions, although there is still a challenge of leaders failing to work with the inspectorate.
We are losing 20 trillion. That's a very big loss. 20 trillion. And like she has said, when we are in cabinet, always the president says, why don't you fight corruption? And I think he's also against the corruption. But what is the word corruption? What does it mean? Who knows what it means? Because you also give corruption and you receive corruption. So that means both of us are corrupt. So let's fight corruption. Let's not blame each other that someone's corrupt, but we are also corrupt.
Training people on ethical and moral values, improvement in transparency and accountability, and citizen participation were some of the key strategies highlighted in the fight against corruption. Sudat Kaye, UBC News.
It's a tough war against corruption and it needs everybody's involvement. To Karamoja sub-region now, where over 500 people have been arrested in a joint security operation of UPDF and police forces. The forces have intensified intelligence comprised of cordon and search operations after getting more manpower from the Special Forces Command, a presidential elite force. According to the 3rd Division Commander, Brigadier General Joseph Balikud Dembe, the operation has happened concurrently across the 9 districts of Karamoja sub-region.
The Joint Security Forces of UPDF and police host intensified intelligence-led cordon and search operations after getting additional manpower on ground from commandos attached to the Special Forces Command, an elite force of the President. The current operations took place concurrently in the 9 districts of Karamoja. The operation was aided by drone cameras to oversee those in hiding and those trying to hide.
Cry has been on for some time, but now we want to make it clear that this time around we shall not stop, we shall continue to make sure that the criminals lose appetite for stealing and for having guns.
Police and UPDF cordoned off different areas in the sub-counties of Kanairi in Kotido, Kakama in Kabong, Loptuktuk in Moroto, among others. At 6 a.m. in the morning, people were told to move out of their homes and were grouped in one place. At Patongo Parish in Kanaira Sub-County in Kotido District, security officers told LC1 chairpersons to identify the people whose names were being read, but most of them declined.
You want me to tell you what is a gun? Tell people can go and bring that gun and go.
The 3rd Division Commander, Brigadier General Balikud Dembe, decried lack of cooperation among local leaders.
Kind of cover-up by some of the local leaders, especially at LC level. When we got these criminals gathered together, we saw some LCs not wanting to show us those elements that we had read out their names. But eventually, after explaining, we saw them cooperating. But we asked them to continue cooperating so that what they have been crying out is really moved out of the community.
He revealed that the joint operation is unstoppable in all districts in Karamoja sub-region.
Doing this simultaneous operation so that we can catch up with the criminals that have been terrorizing the whole of sub-region. These cordon and search operations are not only activities that we are doing. We are doing various activities as the communities will be seeing how our forces are operating. We have operations going on in the whole of 9 districts of Karamoja.
However, the LC3 chairperson of Kanaira Sub-County in Kotido District, Moses Ingera, was worried on how UPDF carried out the operations.
He has a chairman for the death of a person who has been shot dead by the security forces. And that manner, perhaps I'll make that follow up with the DSO's office.
Among the suspects arrested were UPDF deserters, local council leaders, students, hardcore criminals whose names were listed by security forces. Report compiled by Maureen Iga in Moroto District.
Children rights activists under their umbrella body, Uganda Child Rights NGO Network, have called upon government to empower lower government structures responsible for the monitoring and enforcing children's rights at the grassroots communities. They say currently 20% of Uganda's districts have no proper staff and structures like probation officers and police children's rights officers to deal with children-related issues, a concern which they say must be addressed by government. Details in this report.
Children rights activists under the umbrella body Uganda Child Rights NGO Network have expressed concern regarding the growing reports of physical, sexual and emotional violence in homes, communities and schools involving children. A 2021 report by Joining Forces Africa, one of the partners NGOs, revealed that 61.4% of children had experienced physical abuse during the COVID-19 lockdown. In a joint statement presented to journalists at Ntinda by the network's executive director Damon Wamara, the child rights activists called upon government to empower its structures from the village LCs, parish and sub-counties levels to do their work effectively, since they are well placed to deal with the problem at the grassroots.
We need to train the LC3 chairpersons. We need to empower them. We need to equip them. We need to train the probation officers. Ensure that every district has a probation officer trained, empowered, and well facilitated to ensure that they can be able to respond.
Timothy Opobo from the Makerere-based AfriChild Center says many of the child rights abuse cases still go unreported due to the weak reporting structures.
One fact is also that many of these cases go unreported. So those that are reported, whether in the media, whether within the justice structures, are just a small fraction.
Some activists also raise concerns regarding the violation in schools by teachers themselves and rising teenage pregnancies.
An opportunity to dream again, not give them a chance and a safe space for them to thrive. So at the Remnant Generation, we have shelters where we assess these girls, reach out to the communities and find these girls who are in need of services. And then the shelters where we keep them, give them psychosocial support.
Best, it's because we did a randomized control trial and it indicated that the toolkit reduced physical violence perpetrated by the school staff by 42%, and it also reduced the approval of corporal punishment use by 50%.
The activists are set to conduct another national survey to assess the extent of the problem in the near future.
A State Minister for Gender and Culture, Peace Mutuzo, has expressed concern over the increasing demeaning of women by some organizations, referring to them as special interest groups. Mutuzo says women contribute more to development if considered business partners. This was during the launch of the UN Women's Strategic Note 2022-2025, which focuses on women's transformative approach to empowerment. Lydia Chomkama reports.
I'll have Madame Andikemi pen her signature, Dr. Corridor, and...
The launched UN Women's Strategic Note 2022-2025 seeks to address challenges women encounter in fight for the gender equality and women's empowerment in Uganda. Generally, women contribute 52% on the country's population, which demonstrates a higher impact on the progress made in societies if women are invested in.
So once we have women placed in these high positions of responsibility, the rest of the journey is much simpler, because we speak a voice and to be received by one who has an appreciation for what we exactly have been struggling to achieve.
To date, affirmative action, according to Minister Mutuzo, has seemingly become a norm where people seem not to follow it. The minister also highlights the increasing demeaning of women.
Special interest, when you're 52% of the total population, it's so demeaning. We are partners. And if you're looking for development, you should raise women to the level of partners, not look at them as special interest groups.
The recent reports by the UN Women entity indicate how the progress in gender equality empowerment of women was slow for the past 2 years.
We had to think more creatively about how best to position ourselves within a very challenging environment with dwindling resources to gender equality, with shrinking space for civil society, and within the context that we find women and girls here in Uganda.
The limited resources provided to the ministry also contributes to the slow pace of intervention.
It is a fact that we cannot speak in low tones. SDG 5, the Social Development Goal 5, is the least funded. There is money for education, there is money for housing, there is money for infrastructure, roads and all that. But when it goes to equality, I don't know whether it is because of gender, the funding is completely cut.
Stakeholders and community gatekeepers are urged to increase more sensitization on peace building and also to demystify stereotype, especially on balancing leadership. Irene.
Sports news now, and we look at netball, where East African netball presidents are in Uganda to exchange ideas on how to improve the game of netball in the country. Led by Dr. Devota Nemalwa, the head of the Tanzania Netball Federation, they had a tour of the Uganda netball offices and held an exchange on how to promote the game through different tournaments, how to solicit for funds from sponsors, and easy representation at both continent and world levels.
Interaction with federation heads from Zanzibar, Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda, the host. But as you know, we've been facing, and we are still facing, the same problem. That is, netball is not appreciated in East Africa, and it all goes up to the head of the federations. We have to go into this phase of making it visible and being appreciated first in our countries before we think of anything else. Sponsors, partners believe in numbers. Sponsor partners believe in visibility. How far can you take the product? So the moment we go to that phase in that the game is known across all borders, then we are sure of the partners. So these are some of the things we've shared together. Let us build the structures. Let us have fully functioning secretariat. Let us market the game first in our country. Let us get those numbers. And then nobody can stop netball the moment we have done what we've discussed and we interacted in successfully.
We need to make that thing or the game competitive. We need to have serious leagues whereby a player will leave Uganda to go and play for Kenya, and someone will leave Kenya to go and play for Tanzania, someone will leave Tanzania to come and play for any club in Uganda. The day we reach that, I think we shall have achieved it. Because we have the best. Our girls are strong, they are resilient, they are very tall, they have the skill, they know what to do. But as leaders, I think somehow there's something we've not been doing right, and this is what we are trying to fix. And we have agreed on so many issues to handle, and we are going to make sure they are handled and sorted, and we help this game grow in the region.
Club championship, I can see the players are physically fit, they are skillful, and they have strategies and techniques of playing much higher compared to our teams. And that is a lesson for us because we are competing, but I appreciate their strength, the competition spirit they are having. So for that is a lesson for my teams. When I go back there, I have to do something so that I can have players who have that qualities similar to the Uganda, and this will make the East African teams to become competitive. Then when you compare to other regions, we have to make sure that all East Africans will have players who are competitive.
10 minutes after 11 in the studios of UBC TV, we finally come to the end of this second and final edition of News Tonight. Thank you so much for having kept us company. My name is Rukidi Edward Kiijanangoma, wishing you a blessed night.
Complex Nutrition Center, we advise you on the right foods to eat, exercise profile to adopt, and lifestyle strategies which are compatible to your blood group and genotype. This